Hello and welcome to Dailybiz, brought to you by B2B International. My name is Ling Ung and here come our top stories. Need for regional links highlighted. Affordable housing segment predicted to boom. And Vietnamese goods displayed at Myanmar Fair. Vietnamese stocks may fall further this week as investor confidence drops on declining oil prices and markets receive no positive news from the listed companies, brokerage firms wrote in their weekly forecast. The benchmark VN index on the Ho Chi Minh Stock Exchange dropped 2.61 points to 555.82 points, with 128 losers and 85 gainers. The VN30 index also lost 2.56 points to 565.71 points. Meanwhile, on the northern bourse, the HNX index, however, recovered at very last minute to inch up 0.02 point to 78.49 points. The upcoming index of unlisted public companies declined 1.48 points to 58.19 points. And here's the list of the 5 biggest gainers and losers of today. Vietnam's economy is forecast to continue bouncing back thanks to increased foreign investment, consumer confidence and credit growth. The Asian Development Bank has remained upbeat about Vietnam's 2016 economic growth and last week raised its September 2015 forecast of 6.6% to 6.7%. The Vietnamese government also set a target of 6.7% GDP growth in 2016. Exports will likely increase in value by 10% this year and by 14% in 2017 as new production from foreign invested factories comes online and free trade agreements take effect. Imports will also continue to grow in response to stronger consumer demand and to supply manufacturing input materials. Regional connectivity is an effective way to improve cooperation between regions in economic development and to make better use of regional resources. The concept was highlighted at an international conference in Hanoi on Sunday. The event was jointly held by the Party's Central Committee's Economic Commission, the German Embassy in Vietnam, and the Coordination Committee for the Central Coastal Region.
Head of the Party Central Committee's Economic Commission, Vương Đình Huệ, said that the regional economic and connectivity issues had received greater attention from the party and government since the 8th National Party Congress. However, development gaps between regions have yet to be narrowed. Regional connectivity among cities and provinces remains weak, and intra-regional value chains and inter-regional economic connectivity are still absent. Zoning and building development plans for economic regions and mechanisms and policies to address regional economic development-related issues are in vital need of discussion, Huệ said. Victoria Qua Qua, World Bank Country Director for Vietnam, said that the bank would collaborate with international organizations and the Vietnamese government in promoting regional development and coordinations in the country. For key economic zones, participants proposed issues policies to boost competitiveness with economic centers in ASEAN, Asia, and the world.
The purchase of government bonds in March has fallen compared to recent months. This is according to the National Financial Supervisory Commission. However, despite the decline, short-term bond yields slightly increased, while yields remained unchanged with long-term bonds. Experts suggested the fall in purchases was because banks were preferred to focus on loans to long-term real estate projects and were curbing short-term loans based on the provisions outlined in Circular 36. As of March 23rd, total government bond issued reached about $3.05 billion, equivalent to 89% of the first quarter's target and 31% year's objective. The real estate market showed signs of recovery as the supply and demand sharply increased and inventory values decreased dramatically last year. However, while the middle income and luxury segment were popular last year, apartments valued at around $45,000 have proved popular in the first 3 months of this year. More in the following.
All 500 West Bay Sky Residences apartments in the Eco Park residential area were sold a day and a half after launch. Apartments in this development range from $30,800, which proves a surprise for many homebuyers.
Prices are obviously a highlight. At $700 to $2,000 per square meter, it's reasonable for an apartment like this. I like it even more when I know this is a smart apartment design.
Thousands of villas and luxury townhouses with prices ranging from $135,000 to $450,000 were sold last year by the developer. However, realizing that the supply of luxury apartment was increasing, the investor changed the direction to focus on apartments priced around $45,000. The buyers of these apartments are single young people and newlyweds who are often forgotten by the market.
The market is growing well, and there is a wide range market segmentation for investors to specialize in. Therefore, investors should make long-term investment plans instead of short-term investment focusing on existing demand.
According to real estate experts, demand for apartments priced around $45,000 will sharply increase this year. In this segmentation, supply is lower than demand, but prices will increase slowly and stably. Last year showed that the increase in price of affordable housing segment grew by only 2% compared to 5 to 6% of the middle segment and 5 to 15% in the luxury apartment segment.
It's important that we maintain a stable price and have a suitable management solutions so that prices don't sharply increase.
Market watchers such as Wills and CBRE indicate in their first quarter surveys that there is a positive outlook for apartments priced around $45,000. This segment will no doubt receive more attention from investors, given the huge untapped potential for this market segment.
Now, Fitch Ratings has issued long-term issuer default ratings on locally owned Agribank, Vietinbank, Vietcombank, ACB, and Military Bank. Fitch raised its ratings based on the banking sector's initial signs of stabilization, aided by an improving economy. The funding and liquidity conditions for the sector are expected to remain steady, aided by a relatively stable currency and benign inflation. If sustained, this is likely to alleviate asset quality pressures on the system. However, Fitch expected bank profitability would remain under pressure due to weak net interest margins and high credit costs on a more stringent asset classification. Fitch also expected that the government would provide extraordinary support as these entities are strategically important, play a vital role in the banking system, and are majority owned by the Vietnamese government. And now let's take a look at the updated foreign exchange rates. Low-cost carrier Vietjet Air was recently recognized as most favorite airline at a ceremony held on April 2nd in Hanoi to present the Golden Dragon Awards and hail Vietnam's leading brand names. The annual prize was initiated in 2001 by the Ministry of Industry and Trade in collaboration with the Vietnam Economic Times to acknowledge businesses with excellent performances and recognize their contributions to the business and local communities. Vietjet is Vietnam's first low-cost airline. Founded in 2007, Vietjet currently has a fleet of 34 aircrafts, including A320s and A321s, and operates about 200 flights daily. The Vietnam National Petroleum Group, or Petrolimex, will offer $103.5 million in ordinary shares, or an 8% of its stake, to Japanese-owned JX Nippon Oil and Energy Corporation. Hosting its AGM in Hanoi last week, Petrolimex Chairman Nguyen Ngọc Bảo revealed the plan to issue more shares to increase the group's charter capital. The deal with JX is part of the first phase of this plan. Shares will start off with an initial valuation of not less than $1.7 per share. With this price, the company is expected to attract at least $175 million in additional funding. The capital earned after the sale will be partially used to restructure the finances of Petrolimex Singapore Limited in Singapore, which is reeling under losses of trillions of dong. The measure is considered part of the group's restructuring process. The group's current charter capital stands at around $480 million. This year's Myanmar-Vietnam Trade Service and Tourism Fair in Yangon, Myanmar, continues to receive a positive response from local consumers. Through the event, Vietnamese firms are increasingly seeing the potential of this nearby regional market.
Vietnamese household goods have proved popular with local consumers from the moment the doors opened. Many local customers say they go to the fair every year.
I come to Vietnamese goods fair every year because of the good quality and affordable prices. This time, I plan to buy food and kitchen utensils.
I have bought 20 plates to present as gifts. Vietnamese goods are high quality.
Myanmar is proving a suitable market for Vietnamese manufacturers. Local people and Vietnamese customers share some habits in choosing products in terms of quality, price, model, and convenience. Through fairs like this, Vietnamese businesses are accumulating experience for their future business in Myanmar.
I think Vietnamese green bean cakes will sell well in Myanmar, since the local people and Vietnamese consumers have similar tastes.
This is the third time we participated in this fair. We want our products to be widely known in Myanmar. There aren't any cotton face cloth factories, so we would like to build one.
The government of Myanmar highly values Vietnamese products, as well as partnership between firms of the two countries. The friendship between governments of the two countries is also strengthened thanks to such events.
The Myanmar-Vietnam fairs in Yangon underline that local consumers have a keen interest in Vietnamese products. Myanmar is seen as an attractive market for Vietnamese enterprises, especially when conditions for businesses are becoming easier.
That piece of news wraps up our Dailybiz today. Thank you very much for being with us. You can always rewatch our program at vtv4.vn or youtube.com/vtvfogo. And goodbye for now from Hanoi.